Now, Eyewitness Sports with Elliot Polikoff.
This year's UConn football team has accomplished a lot of things which, frankly, they didn't want to. But today against SMU, they did something positive, something they hadn't been able to do in AAC play all season long. I'm trying to take the glass half full approach, Huskies fans, but nothing about this run right here brings much optimism. Just a whole bunch of missed tackles by UConn, but the Huskies offense came to play in this one. David Pindell, he's been one of the few bright spots for the Huskies this year, and this 30-yard run, just the beginning of a huge day for the senior. Only problem was the Mustangs led 31-10 at the half. Third quarter. Comeback time. Pindell to Herji Mayala. That makes it a two-score game, but stop me if you heard this one before. UConn couldn't get stops on defense. Fourth quarter, wild formation, but Tyler Davis keeps his feet in for the 5-yard score. Once again, a two-score game. David Pindell had 4 touchdown passes. He also had 181 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. The Huskies scored 50 points for the first time in conference play. Only problem is they gave up 62 and dropped their 7th straight game.
We tried to make it a shootout and outscore them if we could, but we weren't able to do that. I thought David Pindell played extremely well. I thought Kevin Mensah really did a nice job. I thought our offensive line did a good job. You don't usually rush for that many yards unless they're opening some holes and taking care of business.
They're just so disciplined, and they never like flout. They're always they're like the backbone of the team. They get things started, and without the O-line, there's no offense.
Yeah, I felt like we was in it all the way to the end. Personally, I think we can be in every game. I like playing because it's my last year, so I try to play every play like it's the last and try to, any opportunity we can score, I try to take advantage of that. But yeah, we was in the game all the way to the end. We just kept fighting, and it wasn't the results we wanted, but I think offensively they played a great second half.
All right, another local college football scores today. Yale lost at home this afternoon to Princeton, 59-43. Central a winner on the road against St. Francis, 30-14. Southern lost on the road to Merrimack, 31-14, while New Haven lost to LIU Post, 17-13. And in an in-state showdown, Trinity shuts out Wesleyan 9-0. That is the 3rd NESCAC title in a row for the Bantams. Now shifting to the hardwood, the CCSU men coming off a big-time win over Hartford in their season opener. But the competition got taken up a notch tonight against Georgetown. Danielle Marshall trying to get his team that statement non-conference W, and the Blue Devils making this one interesting. Down 8 midway through the second half. Tyler Cole with a step-back 3, 5-point game. But the real star tonight for CCSU was Ian Christian, the freshman from just about half an hour away from D.C., lighting it up from downtown. He had 28 points. Then Kashawn Hicks with the nice finish inside. It was a 3-point game. Central Connecticut State refusing to back down. Under 6 to go. Cole on the baseline to who else? Ian Christian, 2-point game. And the Blue Devils thinking they got an upset on their minds. But in the end, CCSU can never quite get that one bucket to tie things up. They fall 85-78, but a heck of a performance by the Blue Devils. How about Quinnipiac going for an upset of their own against the defending champs Villanova? And this one did not go quite as smoothly as CCSU's upset bid went. Early on, Bobcats not looking too shabby, though. Travis Addison passing it to Tyrese Williams for the 3-ball. Only problem is 7 minutes later, that's still the only points of the game for Quinnipiac. Addison getting the Bobcats to 5 points with a tough leaner right there. Quinnipiac down 27 at the half. Villanova, the defending champs for a reason. They win at 86-53. The Bobcats return home Thursday to face Hartford. As last night's Friday Night Football wrapped up, the Yale Bulldogs were in action out in Shanghai, China against Cal for the Pac-12 China game. Only problem for Cal was this Pac-12 game was all dogs. For midway through the first half on, Yale never trailed. They led by double digits the entire second half, thanks in large part to shooting 43% from downtown. Azar Swain had 16 points off the bench for Yale. Maya Oni had 16 points also for the Bulldogs. In Yale, they cruised to a 76-59 win. The competition, though, gets a little bit tougher a week from tonight against Memphis. And UConn basketball fans, tomorrow a busy day for Huskies hoops. The men are back in action taking on UMKC. That game is at 5 p.m. at Gamble Pavilion. The Kangaroos are 0-2. But more importantly, this is the last tune-up before a huge showdown Thursday at Madison Square Garden against Syracuse. The UConn women open their regular season tomorrow against Ohio State. So it's that time of year, guys, where you've got football, you've got basketball, you just Don't know what you're going to do with the remote, but you know it's going to land somewhere good.
Multiple TVs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Ellie.